Tonight I'm delighted to be joined by Bill Munro from Schenectady Pipe Band, who are the sponsor of Capital District Highland Games. After recently announcing that we'll be bringing ScotlandShop to the Capital District, we're very excited to hear the story of our soon-to-be local pipe band. So thank you for joining us today, Bill.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to meeting you when you get here.
Yeah, likewise. So Bill, first of all, have you always lived in Schenectady then?
I haven't actually. We lived in Albany for most of my life, which is about 7 or 8 miles east of Schenectady. I worked in Schenectady for quite a while, and we actually live in the town of Colony, which is where you'll be moving to when you come over here. And we're just about maybe a mile from the city limits of Schenectady, and maybe 5 or 6 miles from Albany. We downsized to a retirement community is what we did.
Ah, okay, brilliant. Yeah, so somewhere in between the two cities then.
Right, yep.
Perfect. And so how was it that you first got into piping, and were there any fellow pipers in the family or any musicians who inspired you?
Well, yes, that's what we're going to talk about right now. See this fellow in back of me?
Yeah.
That's grandfather. His name was William Gray Munro.
Right.
He immigrated from Scotland in we think about 1905, and he immigrated to Canada and was in Canada and became he played with the military over in Scotland, but when he came to Canada, he became the first pipe major of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders in Toronto.
Oh, amazing.
While there, he wound up traveling down. He was asked to play in Coney Island in New York City, the pipes for the summer.
Oh.
And he went down there to do that. But on the way, he stopped in Albany and met a young lady named Sarah Logan, who became Sarah Logan Munro. And he then came back down here and married Sarah, and I'm sorry, I said Sarah, it's Sadie Logan Munro. I'm getting corrected by my assistant here. And I should know that because my granddaughter's name is Sadie Logan Munro. So he came down here and he married and had 5 children, and one of them was my father. And this gentleman played the bagpipes here for many, many years and taught many, many people, many bands, as a matter of fact. I have a picture of him in 1948 playing with the Schenectady Pipe Band.
Right.
So it's quite an honor to have him as our ancestor. He now has 19 direct descendants who are playing bagpipes and a few drums. So we're pretty proud of that, and we plan someday, maybe next year or the year after, to go over as the 19 of us to go over as the William G. Munro Memorial Pipe Band and compete in the world.
Amazing.
So that's the history behind our musical instructor here.
Oh, well, that's not a story I was expecting, and yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, like you say, to have so many direct descendants who followed in his footsteps is quite the legacy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And so I take it that's how you became first involved with Schenectady Pipe Band, then, is following in your grandfather's footsteps.
Well, what happened was my grandfather died when I was 7, and he instilled the music in my mind because I used to listen to him play a lot. And he would walk up and down our backyard in West Albany, and I just loved the music. But it took me about 20 years to find someone to teach me how to play. And how that happened was we heard that the Schenectady Pipe Band was playing at one of the regional shopping malls, and they were playing for British days. So they were performing in the mall, and my brother Jack, who's now passed away, but he called me up and he said, "Bill, you got to come up here, and there's a pipe band playing here. Maybe we can find somebody to teach us." And so we did, and him and I both learned together, and joined the pipe band in 1968, and have been playing with them ever since. This is my 54th year, I believe, playing with them. Jack unfortunately passed away about 13 years ago, but we had a great time playing together. And so that's how I got involved with the Schenectady Pipe Band, and have been ever since.
Yeah, and what would you say the most rewarding aspect of being a member of the band is?
It's the camaraderie and the commitment to continuous improvement in what we do as a band. And we do this constantly. We practice every Tuesday night for about 3 hours. And then we have weekends and workshops and things like that we invite guest instructors in. And so we're constantly working on improving our music and getting better with what we do. Bands have ups and downs like all bands do. So right now we're competing at a grade 4 level actually. But we've competed in a lot higher grades than that and done very well with all of them.
Yeah, oh, that's amazing. And so I read that the band was formed back in 1917 with the support of Clan McRae and General Electric. So can you tell us more about the history of the band?
Yeah, Isaac Riddell was our first pipe major. He was a stonemason over in Vermont who had emigrated from Scotland, was an accomplished piper. And the Schenectady Pipe Band, when they were forming in 1917, many of the members were part of Clan McRae, Clan McRae USA, and also worked for GE. And so Clan McRae and GE helped us get the band started, GE specifically by offering Isaac Riddell employment over here in the GE plant, which is a very large plant, as you may have heard about, the city that lights and falls the world.
Yeah.
So he came over and became our first pipe major. We were a performing band for most of that time. They were actually, the band when it formed in 1917, formed as the British Empire War Veterans Band.
Okay.
And they went by that name until the mid-20s when they changed it to the Schenectady Pipe Band. And we played for presidential inaugurations, gubernatorial inaugurations. We play for, and still do play for, many of the colleges and universities here for their commencement, their convocations, and whatever else they have going on, or their alumni days. We do a lot of performing in the streets with band performances where we march. We do a lot of concerts, our own concerts, and we have lots of activity. We play about 20 performances a year. Okay. And probably another, when we're competing, which we haven't, of course, with the pandemic, but another 6 or 8 competitions.
Right.
So yeah, we're pretty busy throughout the year.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And am I correct in saying that it's because of Isaac and his connection to the Gordon Highlanders in Aberdeen before he moved, and that's why you wear the Gordon Tartan as a band?
Yeah, that's right. That's why we wear a Gordon kilt, because Isaac Riddell was a Gordon, and we've actually had the Gordon Highland Regiment give us authorization to wear that kilt.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's been a history. We have 2 types of dress. We have a concert dress, which is basically the kilt and hose and a vest and jacket and tie and Glengarry that we use for concert performances and many of the band performances. But we also have the full outfit with the busbies and the jacket, the green doublets, and all the things that go with that. So yeah, we outfit ourselves pretty well, and it's a job for us to do that because it's very keep 2 uniforms up. But we decided it's the thing to do.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. And so you were saying that the band is currently competing at grade 4. So that's in the Eastern United States Pipe Band Association. So can you tell us more about some of the competitions that you mentioned?
Well, Yes, we've been competing. We've competed as high as grade 2 and won our Eastern United States Pipe Band Championships in every grade, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So at times we were a very big band, at times we were a little smaller. And right now we're in the rebuilding process, but we have quite a good group coming along.
Yeah.
We did compete in Scotland in 4 times, as you mentioned. And one of the times we won first place in dress and deportment, which was pretty exciting, especially for our quartermaster and drum major who outfitted us. And we've done pretty well in competitions over there. We haven't won, but we've come very close to getting into the finals, and we'll continue to work at it. We've had so much fun doing it, and we traveled all over Scotland while we did it.
Yeah. So are you planning to come back over to Scotland anytime soon?
We hope, as I said, to come back, and we were doing it every 5 years, but it turned out that with the pandemic and everything else, we got set back a little bit. But we'll definitely be back. Probably not next year, maybe the year after.
Amazing. So this time, first place is what you're hoping for. So in 1978, the band took on the challenge of re-establishing the Capital District Scottish Games, which are just outside of Albany. So can you tell us how that came about?
Yes. Well, here's how that all came about. We began when we started competing in the early 70s, and that was the first time the band actually competed. And we won the first time going out. We were all excited about it. But the games we were going to that year, I think it was in 1973 or 4, were all not very well organized and didn't have large competition. They had maybe 5 or 6 bands, and that was it. And we having been involved with the Scottish Games before and I'll get back to that in a minute, how they evolved, but the game actually started here in 1939, and they were organized by Clan McRae and ended in 1967 when they no longer had young enough people to keep on putting the games together. At that time, they were drawing somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 people, but they had the best pipe band competition in the United States. They had lots of bands from Canada, lots of bands from all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And so we remembered those competitions because we watched them. We were kids then. And we said, after we started competing, we said, we've got to start up the games again.
Yeah.
So we did. And it was interesting because at that time we had about $25 in the band checking account. And we were going to spend $14,000 putting games on.
Yeah.
So the band board asked us, I was the chair of the committee that was trying to do this. They said, well, what are you going to do if you lose money? And I said, well, we're going to march until we pay it all off and then try again.
Yeah, well, that's a great attitude.
But the first year was absolutely tremendous. We had 8,000 people show up.
Oh, wow.
And since then, we've had as many as 16,000 show up.
Yeah.
So it's been really a great run for us. We've had, and it's a labor of love. We're all volunteers. No one gets paid. And we work at it all year long trying to put these games together. It's a committee of about 30 people who work, various committee chairs, who work at this and put together the whole scenario, inviting all the competitors, getting the vendors in, publicity. I do the publicity for them now. I was the chair of the committee for 23 years, and I finally got someone not smart enough to take it over, and I got out of it. Only kidding. The guy's very smart.
Brilliant. And so despite COVID, the games were able to go ahead this year, which is fantastic, albeit on a smaller scale. So how were the games this year?
Yeah, the COVID scared us. And we didn't have them, of course, in 20, but no one had anything in 20.
Yeah.
And in this year in 21, we weren't sure that we were going to put them on until I think it was mid or late June. Mm-hmm. Although we had made a decision to put ourselves in that direction and get the work going with the committee. We said we can always pull back if we think that this isn't going to work. And you keep watching what's going on with the pandemic and how the fluctuation in the number of cases and things like that. Finally, it was close to July 1st. We said, okay, let's go with it.
Yeah.
We still weren't sure how many people would show up because there's fear. So we said, we got to cut our budget down so we don't put all our eggs in this one basket. So we cut out some things like individual competition for piping and drumming and dancing. We kept the band competitions, and we wound up with, I think, 13 bands, which isn't bad for what's going on now. Usually, we've had as many as 45 bands competing.
Wow.
And we usually now get around about 25 because the band consolidated to where there's not as many to that go out and compete anymore. But so yes, we had a great run this year. We think we still haven't gotten the exact count of the attendance, but we think it was around 8,000 or 9,000.
Oh wow,
which was really good.
Yeah.
We put down to 1-day games instead of 2, and we think that all the people who used to come on the second day came on the first day, and they worked pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so glad to hear they were able to go ahead. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, and everyone we talked to said, we're so glad you guys came back and did this, and so we're proud.
Yeah, you should be, definitely. And I imagine you're all raring to go for next year then. We can't wait to come in and get involved with what's going to be our local Highland Games.
Yeah, we're already planning for next year, of course.
Yeah.
We hope that we can get back to 2-day games, but there are many in the committee who say, boy, this 1 day is a lot easier. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I'm hoping that we get back to 2 days.
Yeah.
But we have so many areas that we ask for people to come and help. On the day of the game, we have 300 volunteers who are acting as stewards in the competitions, or acting as help for the vendors who are moving in. We have clans and societies who draw about 35 or 40 clans that come and visit and set up tents and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I have lots of, we have mass bands, we have children's events, which are really great. The way we price this is children 12 and under get in free. And then we have activities for them that are really cool, like caber toss for kids and things like that. We have animal shows like Highland cattle, like eagles and flying the birds of prey. Lots of things that just are entertaining, and we encourage people to just get up and walk around, enjoy the game as you would a fair of some kind, where you don't want to sit down and be in one place. Although we have a large tent, which is our entertainment tent, better known as the beer tent, and it has great entertainment in it all day long. The Brigadoon, Canada, we have this year we had Enter the Haggis, many fine bands. Colin Grant Adams, a great individual performer. He's been with us for about I'd say 7 or 8 years now, and he's got a great voice, and he really entertains the crowd as an individual performer. And we really love his music and love him. He's a great guy.
Oh, well, I look forward to hearing him next year then.
Oh, I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
I think.
Amazing. And so obviously you said you're a very busy band. So can you tell us more about some of the other local events that you march at and perform at? We
perform, as I said, at many colleges and universities for the commencements. We perform at a lot of local parades. We about every other year we put a concert ourselves on as a fundraiser in Proctor's Theater here in Schenectady, and we have a lot of fun doing that. We produced a CD that we've been fortunate to be able to do. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities to come and see us play and hear us play, including at our practices. We have people show up sometimes just to say, I just want to come in and listen if you don't mind. Yep, that's fine with us. Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, I'll pop along one week then. As soon as I'm out in the US, I'll come and say hello.
Yep.
And so, what would you say to anyone thinking of taking up the pipes? What would you say to encourage them?
Well, number one, you have to love the music. If you don't love the music, you're not going to stick with it. And we have a lot of attrition when we start teaching. I've taught my grandson, now teaching my youngest grandson, who's just started the pipes. Sadie Logan Munro is playing the pipes for the local youth band and competed for the first time this year at the game. So we have lots of opportunity for kids to, for people to join the pipe band. You have to be prepared for a lifelong learning of the instrument, because it's especially not an easy instrument to start. Now, once you get the physical part of it down, where your arm and your breath work independently of the music and the marching, and you're able to keep a steady pressure on the bag and so on and so forth, then the objective becomes to continually improve fingering, learn new embellishments, and execute properly. And when we're playing as a band, everyone has to do all these embellishments exactly the same way. So it takes a time to do it. But I encourage anyone who loves the music to start it. And we start them with no experience at all. And we've had many pipers come in who has a lot of experience and start playing with it.
Yeah. And so how can people come along and get involved with the band?
Well, they can, we have a website, so we recruit through the website. We also, when we're out performing, we hand out brochures and so on and so forth that ask people to, if they're interested, to come and see us. We have probably, I'd say, 6 people who are teaching now in the band. Oh. And for instance, I taught my grandson, my son, and as they become more proficient, at this point in time, we like to see the kids go to the youth band, Capital District Youth Band, because they have peers then that they're going to learn with, and not a whole bunch of adults who have a whole different set of objectives with piping. So we have several of our members' offspring now playing in the Capital District Youth Band, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
no, that sounds amazing. Like you say, having that group of children that can move up from the youth band into the pipe band itself is a great way of doing things.
Yes, it is. Yep, working out well for it.
Yeah, definitely. And so, being so passionate about piping, then, are there other aspects of Scottish culture and tradition that you love too?
Well, we're involved very much with Clan Munro. We set up a tent on the games field each year. We've been to the Clan Munro gathering down in Atlanta. We would have been, they're having it in Branson this weekend, but we were a little skittish about getting on a plane and going down there, so we didn't do it this year. But we'll definitely we're going to stay involved, and we really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And we had many of our children, my daughter, my 2 granddaughters, were Highland dancers and competed very well. Were champions in a couple of times, and then of course one of them is now a piper, because she knows his music so well. She can just transition into piping. So Highland dancing is just a great thing we've been involved in for a long time and want to remain involved in. And drumming, we have lots of drummers in the band who are my relatives, my brother, my son. I have a nephew who is both a piper and a drummer. So we keep it in the family, kind of.
Yeah, multi-talented.
It's really a family band. Every one of us have, we realize our commitments to family are first, and band is a close second.
Yeah. That's a good way for it to be. And so you talked about being part of Clan Munro. So have you celebrated your clan roots since a young age?
Yeah, they started dancing very early. In fact, my cousin Georgiana passed away recently, but she was the first Highland dancer I remember, and that's when they danced in full dress. I mean, they had plaids, they had belts, they had everything, and that had to be a job.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But today, the young dancers, they have to put a lot of time into it, and it's very athletic, and they have to have the strength to jump and poise to get in front of judges and keep their cool. It really teaches them lessons in life, not just dancing.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And so as we look forward to moving to the Capital District, is there any way that you would recommend that we come and visit?
Well, I tell you, the Capital Region is a beautiful place to live. You are going to love it.
Yeah.
What's beautiful about it is it has 4 seasons, and this is one of the most pretty seasons right here. Winter and spring, maybe some people think it's a little long, but it's still a fun time to be here. Here's what's nice about the Capital Region. There's it's a tri-city area. Schenectady, Troy, and Albany they're called the tri-city area. It's a metropolitan area. And there's lots to do in each and every one of those cities. And it's a lot of entertainment, great entertainment, stage entertainment, musical entertainment, lots of great restaurants. So you're going to love just the immediate Capital Region. Then you're only like 2.5 hours to New York City or Boston. You're about that far away or less than that far away to the Finger Lakes in the south west of New York. That is an absolutely gorgeous area. And of course, the Adirondacks, which are just 30 minutes away from here. And that's a beautiful, beautiful geographic location. There's so many things to do. You can be a 46er, which there are 46 peaks, and people climb every one of those peaks. It's something like the Munros in Scotland.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it. Oh, a new challenge. I think there's about 280 Munros here though, so that sounds a little easier to do the 46 peaks.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still quite the challenge though.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, so when you come to Scotland, are there any must-dos on your list, places you want to go and visit, things you want to eat?
Must-do in Scotland, well, we have family that we like to see. So that's a must-do for us. My grandfather's sister was the first person I met over there in 1963. And so it was a pleasure to meet her. She was the last living relative of my grandfather. And we spent a wonderful week together up in Invergordon, right on the North Sea where all the oil rigs come in now. And they're working on them all the time. And then what's next in Scotland? Well, of course, we love to compete in the games over there.
Yeah.
And then as far as traveling goes, well, Edinburgh is one of the Edinburgh and Glasgow are top locations. We love to go and do things there.
Iona.
And we've been to Iona, which is a great little trip across Mull. We really, I don't know, there's so many things to do. Probably the highlight of every trip though has been the tattoo at Edinburgh. We just can't miss that, of course. So just great country to visit. There's so many things to do and the people are so nice. We just love it.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Bill. It's been great to meet you virtually, and hopefully it won't be too long until it's in person, and to find out all about the history of the band and the Highland Games. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great, safe few months. And like I say, I'll come and listen in on a practice in the not too distant future.
Yeah, and let's keep in touch. We certainly want to get you involved in the games.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure that happens.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.